Shalom, shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Kakadash. I want to give a double honors to the elders and to the apostles of GMS Great Millstone who do rule well, and the citation to the hopeful elect. It's the brother Damawal from the GMS Cleveland branch, coming back with another quick video. And we're going to jump straight into it. This is the spirit of an Edomite. All right, I know people hear us saying that name a lot. All right, and they try to misquote us because they want people to not hear what we have to say because it's the truth. All right, but every white person is not an Edomite. All right, but the Edomites are white. All right, now what you about to hear, all right, coming from this man's mouth, right, coming from this Edomite mouth, right, it's the hatred and it's the same spirit of Cain, all right, Cain and Abel, all right, when you go back to the beginning, all right, and Cain hated his brother, all right, because the Lord loved the sacrifice that Abel gave, all right, and Cain could have gave the same sacrifice, but Cain tried to give the Lord vegetables, all right, and the Lord was totally upset with that, okay, and because of that, Cain killed his brother, all right. As a matter of fact, let's go to that real quick because I wanted to make a point with this, all right. Genesis 4. Genesis 4 and 2. I'm gonna read through it very quick, but this is the basis of this animosity, all right, that they always had towards us because it's basically just jealousy, all right. The Lord made one contrary and then one after his way, all right. So one nation of people move like the Lord, and the other nation of people move opposite of the Lord, all right. Genesis 4 and 2, and it says, and she began to bear his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. All right. And in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. Now, when you go back to verse 2, it says Cain was a tiller of the ground. All right. That's a part of the Edomite spirit that's in him. All right, is to always be outside. All right, in the woods doing some hunting or always doing some type of construction. All right, or just out there causing havoc, killing animals for no damn reason. All right, and it's kind of funny because in this video, the dude is going to say what he think the white people contributed. All right, which we're going to show that wasn't even totally their contribution either. Okay, but verse 3 it says, in the process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord, and Abel he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering, but unto Cain and unto his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth, and why is thou countenance fallen? If thou does well, should thou be accepted, and if thou does not well, sin lieth at the door. All right, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Right. All right. So the Lord is setting up the play right there. All right. The Lord is basically telling you, okay, that if you so-called white people would have did the right thing, you think that you wouldn't be able to live. All right. You don't think, all right, that the Lord would have accepted you too. But this the thing, it's not in them to do the right thing to the Lord. Okay. But the Lord basically saying, So if you don't if you don't do it, sin is lying at the door for you, right? So you're gonna do wrong, right? And unto thee shall his desire, and thou shalt rule over him, right, man? Because basically, all right, this was going to kick off, all right, the way that the rest of prophecy and life as you know it was going to play out, all right, and that's basically us ruling over the so-called white man until they got back into power, all right, after King David, all right, and they got back to power and they've been ruling ever since, and they want to keep it like that, all right, and that's why it says that the desire, all right, to rule over him, okay, because the so-called white man whole desire is to rule over the black so-called Israelites, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right, that's their whole gist, okay, and now that they're actually trying that same way towards Iran now, that's why they're getting so much pushback, all right, because it was only for an appointed time, all right, but now the spirit in the earth has changed to where all the nations is about to come up against the Edomites, the so-called white man. All right, but continuing on, it says, and the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel? No, Salakia. Verse 8, and Cain talked with Abel, his brother, and it came to pass when they was in the field that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. All right. And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not, am I my brother's keeper? Okay, and when you talk to the so-called white man, this is the way that he feel about you so-called Negroes, Latino, Native Americans. Okay, they don't want to be associated with you unless it's a beneficial thing, unless you can somehow, some way make make whatever they got going on better. All right, and they're only going to use you. All right, until that's not no more, as it says in Ecclesiasticus 13. Okay, while they need thee, they will deal with thee. All right, but the second that they don't need you no more, they're going to scoot your ass right out the way. All right, and we saw that with these so-called black actors and these so-called pop stars. All right, we saw how when they was alive, they was used for the so-called elites, right? So-called Edomite elites. All right, and the second that they wasn't able to be used anymore, all right, to bamboozle their own people, what happened to them? They scooped them out the way. All right, but it says, verse 10, and he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood cried unto me from the ground, and now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it should not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. All right, and that's another reason why the so-called white man had to come up with so many machines. All right, all right, to do what we used to do all around the world. All right, and that's basically farm. Okay, because when the so-called white man started taking over, none of the earth wanted to give this nigga abundance. All right, he always he always had just enough to where he could never take a break. All right, of yielding or things of that nature. Even like right now over there in Tel Aviv and all that, like they had to import trees and all that other shit. Nothing grew for them. All right, and so the world, I mean, the earth is still up against these goddamn devils. All right, the trees, the animals, everything hate this man, man, because this man has been in charge, and only thing they do is poison everything. Okay, but I wanted to read this for this point that is coming up. It says, and now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it should not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond should thou be in the earth. All right, and that's the spirit of the so-called white man. All right, this is why this nigga hate to hear about so-called black history, so-called what they did to us, because this nigga is a vagabond and this nigga is a fugitive. All right, matter of fact, let's get that word fugitive because people forget how detrimental a fugitive can be. All right, because his biggest thing is what? Trying to hide his secret. All right, or at least keep it hid. So a fugitive, whilst he's on the run, his main op is who? The person who has the testimony, the person who can come to court on this nigga and make sure that he receives life. All right, but this is fugitive. All right.
Strong's H 5128. New air. New air.
All right, so let's see what it says. It says to quiver, totter, shake, reel, stagger, wonder. Hold on, that can't be it. It says make, make, make to go up and down, be gone away, movable, remove, scattered, set, shake, sift, staggered, to and fro, be vagabond, make, wander up and down. All right, and that kind of put me in the mindset of when the Lord called the angels and Satan showed up and he asked Satan, what the hell you been doing? And Satan said, been going to and fro in and out the earth. All right, but that's the spirit of these goddamn Edomites. That's why they everywhere. These niggas, the so-called, you can find a white man in Puerto Rico. talking about he's from over there. You can find these niggas in Europe. You can find them in Africa. You can find them everywhere. All right, because this is what this goddamn devil been doing. All right, and just like right now, he's over there in another country, in a whole nother area, trying to tell them what they can and can't do. All right, this nigga is not a keeper of home. All right, and then let's go into this word vagabond real quick. No, bro. See, like they trying to hide this because they're not even the same word, but why it's giving me the same. These people, goddamn devil. You see, so look, they don't want that to come. They don't want that to come out. Let's do this. Let's do this, Salaki, y'all. Let's do this. Man, these people, man. Define. Let's do this like this. A vagabond is a person who wanders from place to place without a fixed home, visible meaning to support or settle existence. Often viewed as nomads, drifters, or wanderers, they move aimlessly or in search of work. Synonymous include vagrant, tramp, hobo, wanderer, drifter, floater, a roamer. All right, and that's them because them niggas came over here to America fast as hell. It's only Christopher Columbus made a little room for their ass. They came over here in droves, and now all of a sudden they trying to tell you that America is their country. All right, that like you got no rights to be here, but even though your people been here before them and all the shit. All right, and they got it by trickery, slaughtering. Right, a fugitive is a person such as a runaway or someone fleeing legal custody who is actively hiding from law enforcement, justice, or persecution. Right, man. All right, now that's what it's supposed to say. Blue letter going off on this one, man. They got the same definition for two different words. You see that? They got the same definition for two different words. So that right there goes to show you that when it comes to really searching up things in the Bible that describe the so-called white man, that's where he like to throw in misleading quotes or misleading definition because he don't want you to really understand that this nigga don't have an other choice but to be the way that he is. All right. And with that, you won't give this goddamn devil no benefit of the doubt. All right. And that's the reason why I'm making this video because again, what this man is about to say, all right, it's basically is his own mouth condemning him. All right. And this nigga and the hatred that he has for our people and the hatred that he has, all right, because if he got hatred for a nigga talking about themselves, right? You know this nigga got a hatred for the Lord who made these niggas, right? Right? And that's why we don't understand how how you so-called black people can worship a so-called Jeebus Christ, right? Because he looked like the one that put your ass in slavery. He looked like the one, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't even make sense, okay? But anyway, let's go and get into it.
At this point, the only way that I can harbor any sort of respect for a black person is if they prove in some sort of way that they aren't completely obsessed with being black. I've been a grown-ass man for a long...
Completely obsessed with being black. Think about that for a second. For one, we're not black, we're Israelites. But he said only can deal with one that are not obsessed with being black. Nigga, what's wrong with being obsessed with your own people or your own kind? Wasn't it your people that says white only, water fountain, white only, this, white only that? You see? They can do these things, but we can't say anything about it. That's a Edomite. You're looking at the problem of the earth. And even though it may look like this nigga don't run no government behind closed doors, his mindset, where you think he got it from? Because his father probably is a government official, right? Because this nigga look like he don't do nothing but probably drink all goddamn day, wake up at 12 and go surfing or something. You know what I'm saying? So these people always have a supposedly justified reason of hating Jake. All right, let's play that back again. Like out of all the things to say, this is what this nigga
At this
said.
point, the only way that I can harbor any sort of respect for a black person is if they prove in some sort of way that they aren't completely obsessed with being black. I've been a grown-ass man...
But yet and still, for the last 300 years, we always had to hear about white people, white society, right? We always had to tiptoe around being in these nigga town, right? Right? Slavery, looking at our ancestors hanging in history books, right? Sundown towns, all these different reminders, even until this day, that you always got to consider when dealing with a so-called white person. None of that, none of that matters though. It's all about all of a sudden black people loving to be black. You know what this really is because the truth is out here. The truth is if you're not so-called a Negro, Latino, Native American, you're not one of God's people. All right. And they hearing about this. And so they're taking it out as just saying black. Right. But it's a deeper hatred there that is spiritual that goes back to that Genesis 4 that we just read. All right. Because that was the spirit that the Lord was going to put in Cain from then on. All right. And again, just like we read, the reason why they don't want to hear it because who has the testimony? The so-called black people. Because the white people did such and such and such 70 AD, starting with the Romans, right? Slave trade, right? All these different things. The list goes on and on. I'm talking about you can bring up Black Wall Street, all those different things. It was over at least 50 different incidents of black people doing their thing, and then white people got jealous and lied, and then used their military to bomb their town and kill those people and take their stuff. All right, all this shit is documented. Okay, and this is why this nigga feel like this because again, he's the fugitive. Their people are the fugitive. Who has stopped the so-called white man? Who has made the white man deal justly with everybody? Nobody has yet, right? But the Lord is going to. Okay, and this is why this nigga hate to hear this, because it remind him that he's a fugitive in the spirit. In the spirit, a nation talking about themselves shouldn't bother other people, because this is what America, right? This is where nations come, right? This nigga ain't say nothing about Puerto Ricans throwing up their riding around with their Puerto Rican flag or nothing like that, right? It's all about blacks, right? Because you want to know why? Because our history is tied in with theirs. We were the victims, and they were the they were the antagonizers. Okay, and they can't reverse that. That's why they don't want to teach it no more. That's why they don't want to talk about it anymore. Okay, because at the end of the day, what we're saying is, yeah, nigga, you did that to us, but guess what? God is not feeling you. He don't look like you, and he's coming back to punish you. And we got the scriptures to prove it. And so now they don't want to hear about it altogether. Who gives a fuck about what you want to hear? Who cares about what the so-called white man thinks, nigga? Don't nobody like you niggas, bro. Everybody hates y'all, bro. Your time is very, 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 very short. You on borrowed time now. All right. And the Lord is making all these nations, man, come up against your goddamn ass, man, because of your bold ass mouth. I mean, like, why would he even make a video like this? Like, even if that's the way you feel, why would you make a video like this? Niggas don't make videos about Asians. Like, they at war with Iran. Where your Iran video at? No. Even with them going through all this, who this nigga got energy smoke for? So-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. All right, because we're the Israelites. But again, he's a fugitive, a person such as a runaway or someone fleeing legal custody. All right, and that's all we're saying. For everything that you and your ancestors did to us, y'all gonna pay for it. And guess what? We're not gonna make you pay for it. The Lord is about to come down here himself, right, and put his foot up your ass. Okay, and they don't like to hear that, because deep down inside they can feel it. All right, they can feel something is close on their ass, man. All right, but real quick, we're gonna get this. Then we're gonna play a little bit more of that scripture. I mean, play a little bit more of that video, right? But let's get this real quick. Ezekiel 35:5. It says, "Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end." Right, man? Because again, right? This is a part of their perpetual hatred. They always have something to say about us of why this or that, but they the ones who had always done this or that, right? They get tired of us talking, but we're not supposed to be tired of them putting it into action, right? They tired of us uh, talking about want to be separated from them, but we're not supposed to be tired of them actually being racist towards us. You see, so the hypocrisy of this nation, just in general, the so-called white man, it is a deterrent, right? Right, for better life on earth, man. All right, a nigga with this mindset, y'all would look at it like, oh man, he got the right and opinion, man, to feel how you want it. No, no, you don't. No, you don't. I'm so sick and tired of generation. Your right and your opinion cannot be masked in just how you feel. It has to be rooted in reality. If not, you're basically just giving the green light to your own goddamn evil thoughts, and you study like juicing it up. You study saying okay to yourself, and nigga, you dead wrong. No, nigga, you can't be tired of us, because y'all the motherfuckers who had power over it. Hold on? How can you be tired of the average black person when you ain't even have to? You don't even have to even see the average black person face. Y'all literally have neighborhoods and suburban areas where we're not welcome. How can you be tired of us? You see? How can you be tired of us? It's not just that, brothers. All right? It's the whole fact that this truth thing came out, and now he's starting to realize, or these people are starting to realize that what we're saying could be true. And so now they're just showing their hatred. What what has always been there. Okay? Because at the end of the day, we can't even get regular people like that nigga on the screen, Anton Dunn. We can't get this nigga to even speak bad about white people, even if they're making some of the most worst mistakes, even if they're costing 100 people of their lives. This nigga won't say nothing bad about the so-called white man. But this nigga tired of black people. He just woke up feeling like that, and this nigga had no problem putting him on the channel, back in the video and everything. You see, so the Lord is coming to come get all these uneven ass niggas, man. On hey, listen, on both sides, whether you white or black, whether you a nigga like Anton or that nigga who he recording or however that shit went, both of them type of niggas is about to be destroyed, man. All right, when the Lord come, and like their mind frame, that thinking, all that shit is about to be eradicated, man. Okay, but again, back in Ezekiel 35, it says, Ezekiel 35 and 5, it says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end, right, man? Because after slavery, we were in slavery by the Heavenly Father. That was all punishment. But after slavery, these goddamn devils show their hatred. After slavery, all the Black Wall Streets and all the shit that they have done to post after slavery until this day, right now, until this day, that is a part of their perpetual hatred that they have towards the children of Israel. All right. And it's not because of anything that we have done to them. It's because in their spirit, they can feel, all right, that they're the bad people of this movie. That's why they don't like to be reminded of when they did this bad thing. That's why talking about slavery really gets under their skin because, again, they are a vagabond and a fugitive. So what they did to us, they still haven't been punished yet. So they don't like to be reminded that they got an ass kicking coming. All right, but look up this word perpetual hatred real quick, right? Because we ain't even got to what to have this nigga got to say, but what does it matter? All right, because it's all about that spirit, right? Right, that spirit of not even coming like, oh man, you know what? Our people did that people wrong. No, hell no, he ain't coming like that. He come like, you know what? I'm tired of hearing about you niggas. Woo, that's that Edomite spirit. That's type of spirit we want you to be in though, because it's just gonna make it even more better when it's time to kick your ass, right? But it's that word perpetual goes into
Strong's H5769. Olam. Olam.
all right, so let's look up and see what it says. It says long duration, forever, ever, everlasting, evermore, perpetual, old, ancient world. All right, all right. So the hatred that they have for us is an old, ancient hatred, man. Ancient time, long time, forever, always, continually, everlasting, indefinite, or unending, future, eternity. All right. So the hatred that they have for us is internally. All right. And you can hear it in this type of nigga voice right here. And that's why I hate a nigga like Anton. I hope he's a terror. I hope somewhere in your family that you really a white dude, you just you just look black. I really hope on your father's side that nigga your mother really had sex with a goddamn slave owner, and your and your grandfather came out and he was just a little dark skinned, and then he liked the dark women. Speak about that nigga Anton, man, because he's a real terror. Like that nigga is really he the type of hatred that he has for black people, but tried to dress it up. Even with his brothers now, he just all them niggas is corny, bro. Like all of them, bro. I'm so sick and tired of these goddamn people who can put up with people who can talk about their people, but never talk about what their people have done to us. Like that shit is just mania to me, bro. That's like
A grown ass man for long enough to know that there's absolutely nothing a black person can teach me. I don't care to view history through your black lens. I don't care to be.
you see, he don't care to view history through your black lens. Well, nigga, view them through your white lens. I mean, what the fuck? Like, y'all wrote history, so what are you talking about? You see, it's some type of underlying issue here, and I'm telling you what the issue is. The issue is he didn't heard about the Israelites, all right, and this movement, right, right, us waking up to our heritage have scared the fuck out these people. Matter of fact, let me get it. Revelations 11:11. It says, and after 3 days and a half, all right, which is that 350-year period from 1619 to 1969, roughly, right? This is when they had us in this. This is when they had us mainly, all right, for our wickedness, all right. This that 350 years where the Lord let these people have their way with us, all right, which goes into what we were just reading over here in Ezekiel. Okay, matter of fact, let's get that back real quick. When it says right here in Ezekiel 35:5, it says, "Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the Salakia, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end." Okay, so in the time of our calamity, right, in the time of our iniquity having an end, right, was a time that so-called slavery was over with. But when you go into that time period, you will start to understand that that's when they created the system that we're in now. Police, slave catchers, right? And the police were the same as the KKK and the judges, all right? And they basically set up a system to where we would never take root of nothing because right after slavery, they let us go free. We was building up towns faster than them. We was doing better than them, and it and they hated that. They hated that, and so they destroyed it. And then they came up with a way to create these projects and take men out the home, so we wouldn't even have a way to keep starting to separate ourselves over and over again, right? So they basically integrated us, all right, to the point to where we won't be able to separate ourselves from this system anymore, okay? But it was all a perpetual hatred because they didn't want to see us self-sufficient at all, okay? So Revelations 11:11 it says, and after 3.5 days, the spirit of life from Yahweh Bashim Yahushua entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. You see, because the spirit also comes with truth. All right, and now that uh, uh, the spirit is dwelling with the brothers. All right, starting with our beloved apostle to her on down. Okay, over here with GMS. All right, the spirit, the Robert, basically the spirit revealed. All right, to the elders and to the apostles how to really break down these scriptures. Okay, and when you get this understanding, all right, it's a little bit more easier. Okay, to see the how all this coincides. All right, so hearing people like this man right here speak is just it's just another backup point. All right, to know that these scriptures are true. All right.
Care to view history through your black lens. I don't care to be enlightened to your overly skewed, overly warped view of things like slavery, which is really just rooted in your need for an excuse. You know, the whole.
You see, you see. So at the end of the day, they know what they did. Now they trying to downplay it like it ain't nothing. All right, and we could make a million videos like this. But only reason why I made it because we just here to remind you, no, nigga, you gonna pay. We could give a damn about a nigga like Anton or any other black nigga who wanna agree with you and make it feel like that we should move on. Fuck you and fuck them. We don't give a damn about what you're talking about. We don't give a damn about what y'all talking. Y'all don't control nothing, bro. And like that's when I'm ready. Like I'm tired of trying to like convince motherfuckers. I'm ready for the Lord to start really putting belt to the ass. Fuck that, because these people are prideful and they think that they 20 years on Earth, right? Right? It's more than enough to determine what the next 20 years is going to be told or what the next 20 years is going to be about. These people are proud in a motherfucker, man. I can't wait till the Lord start humbling these people, man, and take these cameras out these people's faces. All right.
Anthony Johnson, this transatlantic slave trade, that I don't see what any of that has to do with how you are now.
You see? You see? He don't see how any of that have to do with who you are now. He don't see what his people did to us over and over again have anything to do with now. So basically, we supposed to be a whooping stick for the. I mean, we just supposed to take these nigga beatings for 350 years, and then when they decide to make it look like that they that they want to deal with us evenly now, right? As if the three strike law, as if crack cocaine didn't show up in our neighborhoods, as if these gangs wasn't created by the CIA. You know, like it can go on and on, man. But this is the hypocrisy of this place. The people who tell the biggest lies, right, get the biggest cameras, man. All right, and it's promoted and it's pushed, and the truth is study going without fruit, right? But let me tell you what the Lord said. Now we in the time, all right. Now we're in the time of Second Ezra 6:28. As for faith, it shall flourish. All right. So it ain't none like a nigga like Anton or any one of these goddamn fake ass Christians. Cause this nigga call himself a Christian, but he'll give you advice from his own heart. Nigga, shut up. If you ain't speaking of the, if you ain't speaking from the Bible, because ain't no light in you, nigga. That's what the scripture says. Don't believe no nigga that just giving you his motherfucking opinion. I don't give a fuck what type of opinion he think he has. I don't give a damn if it come from a nigga from a we like to call ourselves $1 million nigga. Shut up, nigga. There ain't no money, bitch. If you could put a title on your money, you ain't got no money, nigga. You better go back and go read in the Bible, nigga. That's money, nigga. Like like nigga what King David and them had, nigga. That's money, bro. You can't even take care of a whole town, nigga. And nigga try to feed this whole town a couple weeks, nigga. He gonna be right back broke, nigga. You ain't all like I'm so sick and tired of these niggas and they pride, bro. Like so, nigga, you know how the Heavenly Father feel. Second Ezra 6:28. As for faith, it should flourish. Corruption should be overcome. We're not over corruption right now. Right now, your presidents on down is showing themselves to be the most corrupted. So we ain't in this time right now. All right, like the heaven on earth is not here. So we are in the dark times. All right, no matter how clean they look, no matter how crisp the line look, all these people are really demons, bro. All right. As for faith, it should flourish. Corruption should be overcome, and the faith which hath been so long without fruit should be declared, man. All right. All right. So no more can these niggas quad us down. We don't give a damn how tired you is of hearing about black people slavery. Guess what, white boy, Edomites, you about to go in slavery for putting us in slavery, nigga. That's the whole point. So guess what? You supposed to feel like that. Matter of fact, let's get that. Then we're gonna close it on up, man. Cause these goddamn devils, man. I get tired of them acting like that. We're the problem for speaking about their problem, nigga. Okay, 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 okay. What's that? Revelations. Give me 1 second, Slocky. Revelation 13:10. He that leadeth into captivity should go into captivity. One of the so-called small handlers, the nigga Rockefeller, purchased a boat named Jesus, and that was the first boat to bring the first Western Africans over here in the Atlantic slave trade? Yes, it was, nigga. Go look it up, nigga. That's why we trying to tell you people, Jesus is their God. Why the fuck is you worshiping their God, nigga? Read the Bible. He tells you that every nation got their own God. Like, what the fuck? Like, our people are so stupid. They go to the same people who kill them. Like you can't make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up. And they wonder why our people are in the worst conditions. Nigga, we ain't never been this out of shape or just bad looking as a people until this generation came because they don't believe in the Lord at all. They believe in their enemies. And so their enemies give them the worst of the food, the worst of the candy, right? Right? A store over here is going to be different from a store that's in the suburb areas. You ain't even gonna find no damn store in the suburb in the suburb areas, man. But soon you come back into where you niggas at, as the elder Yasharama used to say, you see Fago drinks, them goddamn little Debbie donuts, all this shit, bro. That like give you cancer, right? And our people can't figure out like why they so unhealthy. Because the ones that you trust in, you go to the goddamn doctor every week, and they're the same one that are feeding you the poison. You see? But anyway, it's a lot. Revelation 13 and Revelation 13 and 10. He that leadeth into captivity should go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. This is the Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. All right. So who cares about how you feel now? What you don't understand is you about to get ready to pay for what your forefathers did to our people. The Lord is not about to let that go. You touch the apple of his eye, nigga, you about to pay for that. And you young, soft ass Edomites like this nigga right here in the camera who look like he never really did a hard day of labor, your ass about to go to war. Get ready to be drafted, nigga. On everything. Get ready to be drafted, man. Call on y'all by showing y'all shot. I can't wait till you start bringing judgment on these proud ass devils. Real talk, y'all believe that y'all would never be touched or go down while you simultaneously drowning right now, man. You're drowning right now. You just ain't been hit with the KO yet. All right. So with that, I praise that's what's edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. I want to give a double honors to the elders and to the apostles of GMS Great Millstone. Shalom.